Buckle up, sports fanatics. This is the Sports Chasers Podcast, your HQ for in-depth sports talk. Join host Kevin L. Warren and crew as they dissect the hottest stories, ignite debates, and bring you closer to the action. From locker room whispers to expert takes, we cover it all. It's game time, so strap in and grab a drink. The Sports Chasers Podcast starts right now.
Hey, good evening. What's happening, everybody? What's going on? It's another edition of the Sports Chasers Podcast coming to you live and direct here on a Thursday night. Happy to be here tonight, man. Make sure you like, click, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you also hit the bells for the notifications on the YouTube side, and those that are listening at the sound of my voice. If you're driving on the podcasting side, make sure you give us that 5-star review. Tell us how you feel about us. Love us or hate us, in the words of D-Dubs, man. And hey, we'll get it in, man. Hey, let's meet the crew. D-Dubs, what's up? Good afternoon. How are you today, sir?
What up, man? Another Thursday night. Yeah, here to talk about, the wonderful world of sports. Salute. What's up?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. DA, what's up, man? How are you tonight, man? What's going on?
We are making it. We're tired, but we're making it.
All right, you making
it. Too many trips up 77 for me. But, it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, shout out to remote work. Dan, the hockey dude. Dan, what's up, man? How are you?
Good evening. Breaking news: we have a Ryan Graves sighting for the Penguins. First goal in the entire year. 67 games in.
I thought he was going to say something else.
Give him some applause for Ryan Graves.
Hey, Kev, I was really hoping that he said Aaron Rodgers signed with the Steelers. That's what I was hoping.
He's going to the Giants, bro.
Nah, you can have him.
I think
you can have him.
Sense, though.
We're bringing Rudolph back.
Oh, there you go. Mason.
Oh, you really try to get him fired, huh? You really try to get Tomlin fired, right?
Yeah, we got to do something. We ain't getting better.
Man, shout out to all those in the comments tonight. Shout out to all those that's been checking us out and support this Sports Chasers. Another way you can support us, man. Hey, we got the gear right here. I see this is one of the polo shirts. Make sure you go to our website, sportschaserspodcast.net, man, and you can peruse all the wonderful content we got on there. Also, some blog posts that we have on there, and also, like I said, we have merchandise up there. Our merchandise, it's we redid the store. And we partner with 1-800 T-shirts, man, and they have done a phenomenal job with this store, man. I am out the T-shirt business, thank God. And hey, man, they've done a great job. So you can get your T-shirts, you can get your polos, you can get knapsacks, you can get tumblers. Oh wait, that's next. Yeah, we're gonna get that. That was the only thing that was selling in the last one, yeah, we're gonna get some tumblers on there, man. All the things you can do, ladies. There's some tote bags up there. Hey, there's something for anybody and anyone up there, man. So we appreciate you, those that support. Also, if you like, I don't think D-Dubs has one, Dugout Mugs. Hey, we are also partnered with Dugout Mugs as one of our affiliates, man. If you like baseball, or if you don't even like baseball, man, hey, you can get one of those wonderful mugs of the 30 MLB teams. And they even have stepped up their game. They make coasters now. They make little shot glasses or shot wooden glasses, aluminum bats. I actually ordered me a aluminum Yankee tumbler today. So they make tumblers where you can actually put hot or cold items inside the tumbler, man. So it's pretty cool to get with them, man. So like I said, thank you for checking this out, man. And hey, let's get into the world of sports. The news today. Not the news today. The news today. Yeah. So let me go to I had it queued up here. Oh, yeah, this is a funny story here from Vice Sports. It says by Louis Prada, and this was on yesterday, a company that produces baseball hats revealed a line of caps for all 30 Major League Baseball teams that features the franchise logos placed directly over the team's name. The result is a muddled mess that winds up making the MLB hat spell out all sorts of nonsense, including one team's hat that no one seemed to notice spells the word tits. Unless there is a 5950 fanatic like I am, You may not be aware of the company called New Era, which makes a wide variety of fitted baseball style caps for every major league sport in the U.S., including the beloved 5950 that people often wear with a flat brim. As modern capitalism dictates, a company can't just release one line of products. It must sell 1,000 minor variations, and you can buy yourself a hat that looks like the one your favorite baseball player wears on a. Can they get a Valentine's Day themed variant with a red bill and a red logo and a fat little cherub firing an Arab faintly stitched onto it? They can't possibly sell many of those. To add yet another hat variation to its endless stream of style varieties, New Era released its overlap line of caps for all 30 MLB teams, and you can buy them from the official MLB website, except for the ones that's absent for the funniest possible reasons. As soon as MLB fans got a look at these overlaps, where the team's name had its lettered logo superimposed on the top of it, it started reading the team's names as it superimposed letters were part of a name. So,
yeah, like Texas was Tetas.
Yes.
And the Angels was that. You know what that is, right? ANA.
Yes.
That's the Angels.
And the Marlins read MMMI. And Seattle Mariners logo on top of the Mariners name, and it turns them into the Seattle Masses. Put a B over the word Boston, and you suddenly they got the Bobon Red Sox. A W lazily slapped on the word Nationals turned them into the Washington Knolls. It's all good fun until you get to the Texas Rangers, and then it becomes hysterical, laying a giant T over the X, and Texas turns in, as DA just said, tatas, and the Spanish word for tits. I'm sure Rangers fans of Mexican descent snatched that one up real quick.
Those are going to be collector's items because they'll probably stop selling them soon.
Oh, they pulled them.
Yeah, they pulled them.
So that means if you ordered yesterday, you got it. You're rich because they came out yesterday. So if you got them yesterday, you ordered yesterday, that means you in. Because they can't. They got to give it to you. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now.
Nah.
They're not selling them more.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
He's looking on eBay.
I missed this story.
Yeah, I saw a couple on eBay. I think the Tetas thing is going for like $900 on eBay already.
That's all right, man. It ain't that serious. But
yep. So MLB strikes again. DA, what do we always say that Bob and Markington? Hey guys.
Stupid idea.
We're just gonna.
He's gonna be working in the parking garage going forward. So.
Oh man, yeah, D-Dubs, you're kind of late to this. Yeah, if you got it yesterday, you good because they pulled them already. They definitely pulled them already, man. So shout out to all those that's in the comments, man. Thank you. Shout out to Mike Bristol. Shout out to Mom. Shout out to Debbie. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Let me go to this other story, a little bit more serious story, but not serious, but deals with money here. From CBS Sports, of course, from Mike Axia, and this was 6 hours ago. A planned $1.3 billion stadium to keep the Tampa Rays in St. Petersburg is no longer happening. Owner Stu Sternberg announced Thursday that the team cannot move forward with the new ballpark and development project at the moment, citing a series of events beginning in October that no one could have anticipated. The series of events that no one could anticipate was the Hurricane Milton, which destroyed Tropicana Field and damaged the other parts of the stadium. The Rays claimed that they could not afford delays to the new stadium project, which led to political infighting. The team faced a March 31st deadline to prove that they could come up with their $700 million obligation towards the cost. Our commitment to the vitality and the success of the Rays organization is unwavering, Sternberg said. In a statement, we continue to focus on finding a ballpark solution that serves the best interests of our region, Major League Baseball, and our organization. The Rays will play the 2025 season in Tampa Bay at George M. Steinbrenner Field, spring training home of the New York Yankees. Yankees chairman Hal Steinbrenner has previously said the arrangement is a one-year solution, not a long-term deal. GMS Field is a minor league facility with no roof, meaning that the Rays will deal with the Floridian rain and humidity all summer long.
Why don't they just share the stadium with the Marlins? Like, for real. Like, what's the problem?
Because that's a 3.5-hour drive from St. Petersburg. I'm guessing.
Then you'll just play in a high school stadium. Okay, if that's what you want to do.
A la Coyotes.
Yeah, come on, man.
They don't have a college stadium around there.
They do, because they have Tampa Bay. They have colleges out there. They're just not big stadiums. They don't have any big college baseball.
But it's got to be bigger than a
it should be
training.
Big, yes, it should be, because like we say spring training, they maybe put eight grand in the stands, 10, 15 grand. So a college stadium D1, you may get 20, right? But my thing is, no one goes to watch them anyway. So you may as well just share the stadium with the other team, share the money so you can figure out a solution, and then maybe everybody moves, or one of you guys just leave the stadium and find somewhere else where they're going to actually put up, give you a place to play where people will like watching you play there, will really care about whether you're there or not.
Mike Bristol says they need to move to Orlando. That was also an option a couple years ago. I don't know what it is.
The water tastes bad in Orlando. No one wants to go to Orlando.
Damn.
So the water sucks. That's
why you drink the bottled water, bro.
Hey, listen. If you're playing a sport, you can't always reach over for a bottle. You try to, you run out of single, and you get some of that water in that stadium, and you're drinking that sulfur water. It almost kill you. But yeah, go ahead, I got you.
But the Rays, basically, so if people don't understand, so the Tampa Bay Rays, they don't play actually in Tampa Bay. They play out in St. Petersburg, right? Yes. So St. Petersburg is pretty much a suburb of the Tampa Bay area. Mm-hmm. It's away from the downtown area, not the same place where the Lightning play at, and Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers play a little bit more. Raymond James Stadium is a little bit more. It's kind of hard to get out there, and they say traffic is bad, from what my understanding, from what I heard.
So we need to get Michael on here to talk sometime, because this is my question, Kevin. I'm just looking at what Michael said. If they're getting 16,000, the average per home game, that's not bad, but it's sure enough not good enough to buy a new stadium on. Like, I'm not giving you $700 million to get 16,000 people in there.
Well, I think they would build a stadium kind of like, 35, 40.
But if they're not getting 35, 40, that's another 16,000. You know what I'm saying? Again, and like I said, I looked at the COVID numbers, I think yesterday. Someone said something, and the dude said, listen, they were playing, there was nobody in the stadiums during COVID, and MLB was still raking in the dough. So I'm not, don't cry for me, Argentina. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, for the aesthetics of it, you still would like to have a stadium where at least it looks like there are people there to watch the team play baseball, right? Because we're trying to do as much as we can to get the sport back in the right place. Which means one is you want to turn the game on, and it looks like Dan and all his boys are out there at the stadium. You want to look like there are people there. That's all I'm saying. It's not going to be every game. We know that. But I'm just saying, wow, that just doesn't, yeah. But, Mike, we just can't sell tickets when the Yankees go. So, because then we need them checks, then we need those, But, it is collective bargaining, and it is shared. There's revenue sharing. So it's all good. I was just, it's like when I look at the NBA and I don't see people in the stands, I'm like, this can't be good for, what they say they're selling.
Oh, no.
That's all. No, I'm not going. I'm just saying, but from a perspective of looking at the game, you see empty seats. It doesn't look like it's, as the kids say, turned up. It looks like it's turned off, right? So, go
ahead. I think what really threw the Rays for a loss is literally when Hurricane Milton blew the top off of that stadium.
Oh yeah. That thing. It peeled it off.
Yeah, peeled it off like it was a can opener, right? And there was some kind of insurance clause that they just said that they weren't going to pay like a couple weeks prior, and guess what happened?
Karma.
Yeah, karma.
Yeah.
So there's what you got, and unfortunately, I don't know what they're gonna do. Mike Bristol, like you said, I don't know. I think even in Tampa Bay, if I'm not mistaken, one of the college teams are playing in Raymond J Stadium. As I thought it was the Savannah Bananas. That's who I saw it was. So I don't know.
Man, but stop.
So, question: how many championships does Tampa Bay have? One, right? One or two?
No, they didn't win anything. They won
None.
the series one
All
time.
bets are off, Mike. I'm sorry. All bets are off. I mean, because the Marlins will win one, and the day after they win, fire everybody.
Yeah,
everybody goes. Like,
that's what they do.
Everybody's card key doesn't work. Dudes are trying to swipe in, can't badge in, and 2 more years, and then win another one. So, Tampa, if you can't do one, then, dog, you got to go somewhere else, man.
I mean, haven't they been talking about moving Tampa for quite some time? I mean, it's always the same areas as Charlotte.
To where? Well, Charlotte messed up. Charlotte messed up when they built the minor league ballpark without major league specifications. That's their fault. That's the city.
That's the city's fault. That's
the city's fault, and the city has done dumb stuff before. So I mean, I'm not shocked by that, but I mean that was an option at one point.
Mecklenburg County got to do something.
Yeah, I'm with Mike though. I'm like, yo, you might as well move them up. Go further.
Remember, like Atlanta, they don't even play close to Atlanta now. Where the stadium's at in Georgia it's a drive. It's a hike. It's not exactly where it used to be. And most places have their stadiums kind of outside the norm, so you can have the parking and you can have.
They did that in Atlanta. I truly believe. I've been to quite a few games at the old Turner Field.
Yeah,
and the parking situation and trying to get there sucks.
It's hard. Yes,
it's still like that now, right? I mean,
it's not great.
It's not great. You still got to park down the block, like 2-3 blocks now.
It's not like at the new place. I haven't been to the new place. So I can't speak on it, but I just know
Turner Field
was awful. Traffic was always bad, and it just didn't matter what time you left or.
So it's on Peace Street.
So, Dan, your thoughts on the Rays and moving and not moving and.
Well, when you got something that, is your livelihood and cost multi-million dollars, I would say have whatever insurance you could possibly have on that building. So that if something happens, it's taken care of. It's like buying a condo unit or an apartment building.
Well,
and not having insurance, fire insurance or flood insurance. And then, somebody comes in and breaks a water pipe and you're out everything. I mean, that's not good business. So, hopefully they figure it out. Something works out for them. They move them, whatever. But hope they learned a lesson that, wherever they do move or whatever they do build, that they make sure that they, insure the thing like they're supposed to, so they don't get in the same situation again.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially when you live where freaking hurricanes are always happening.
Well, well. Hey, man, that's a mic drop right there. Let me just move on to the next story here. Virginia high school athlete charged with assault and battery following viral track meet baton incident. This is from CBS Sports again from Chris Bango. A couple hours ago, Virginia high school athlete has been charged with assault and battery following a baton incident that resulted in another competitor suffering.
He said, "What about me?"
Concussion at a recent track meet.
What about my head trauma?
Lynchburg Commonwealth's attorney Bethany Harrison announced that IC Norcom High School senior
I cannot control my right hand
has been charged Wednesday. The incident took place during the second leg of a 4x200 meter relay race at the Virginia State High School League Indoor State Championship in Lynchburg on March 4th. In a video of the race, Brookville High School school junior Colleen Tucker, who suffered a concussion and possibly a fractured skull, was hit in the back of her head by Everett's relay baton. Hold on a second.
So she hit in the back of the head, man.
Yeah. She was touching me at the point where I was pumping my arm.
No.
And the baton was hitting my arm ever since. I lose my balance and my body turns and then pump my arm. So she got hit.
Satan, I rebuke you.
Tucker also spoke to WKTR News 3 with a different recollection of the incident. As we got around the curve, she kept bumping me in the arm.
She didn't even touch her.
And when we finally got around the curve, I slowly started passing her, and she hit me with a baton. As a result, the viral video Everett revealed that she had been harassed and received death threats. Everett's team ended up disqualified from the race.
Mike, I think you need to go help that young lady
as a result of
Mike
the incidents.
Never apologize.
Nope. Yeah.
You get that baton upside your head. So that's it. That's all. That girl was beating her. She came around the outside of her. The girl that hit her was in the inside lane because they were both losing to another girl by at least say 5-10 feet that was up on them.
Correct.
So the other girl, they were both coming around the curve, and I think they got hit. Probably she looked like she was starting to overtake her, and that other girl said, "Oh no, damn that," and then proceeded to try to beat the crap out of that young lady.
She wound up like she was a pitcher.
Yeah, which is not my problem. I choose violence a lot in life. But that being said, I don't really want to see you on TV the next day talking about what about me. That's real tone deaf. Your father, your mother, your auntie, someone should have told you just to shh.
You have the right to remain silent.
Please do.
Anything that you say can and will be
please do.
Law. You have a right to attorney. If you can't, attorney will be afforded for you.
That's right.
Do you understand those rights right now?
There you go, Kevin.
Dun, dun.
Dun.
Shut up.
The Law and Order. Dun, dun.
Yeah, these are the cases of
Shut up.
Special track unit. So that's what.
Yeah, she's a special victim, right?
So, all right, let's go to the next topic, dog. Because we're not going to do that, Kevin.
Send it to the lab.
Yeah,
get the DNA.
Let me go to the next topic here. Yahoo Sports, how the 2026 World Cup is tackling its turf problem with the most micromanaged grass in the world. Found this interesting. This is from Yahoo Sports, from Henry Bushnell. He says the refrigerated trucks will rumble down 1,000 miles of highway, tracked by the minute, and packed with rolls of most precious grass in sports. They arrive at SoFi Stadium in Southern California and at other NFL stadiums next June on the home stretch of a year-long search for solutions of 2026 World Cup problem, which is turf. 7 of the 11 U.S. venues have the artificial kind, but international soccer disdains it. So as soccer crown jewel comes to North America, renowned professor and ergonomics engineers and construction workers are on a mission to replace the synthetic surfaces with that one expert lovely calls some of the most micromanaged grass in the world. Their mission has spanned continents and universities, shade houses, and sod farms, sun and artificial light. It has cost millions of dollars. It has spawned uncertainty and anxiety, but soon organizers believe it will bring the World Cup to life. Because it has yielded a plan, one that SoFi Stadium will pilot at the CONCACAF Nations League Finals next week. The plan is to weave artificial fibers into natural grass grown on plastic, lay this hybrid grass on an innovative Palmavoid drainage layer, and fuse together a temporary pitch on par with the best of the English Premier League on TNT.
No.
It will require an army of people and 24/7 operations, computerized tractors, and proprietary machinery, exhaustive testing, and constant tweaks over the coming 15 months. It sounds perhaps a bit excessive, but to FIFA, it's one of the highest importance, as World Cup chief Jaime Shrigi said, and it's necessary in part because precious stateside soccer tournaments have been marred by fields that were a disaster. I'll give it to you, DA. You were saying no. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not going to. All right, a few things, but I will get away from my anti-American thing, or we just want to throw money at it like that's going to solve the problem. The game is the game is different, right? So you can have a football field with one type of grass, professional football, because there's really not a lot of sliding in football. In soccer, or what we call football proper, is sliding up and down the field all the time. It's a kick slide. That's where you get the ball from another guy. That's what tears up the grass, and they wear longer cleats. And they don't stop running. That's a 90-minute game with non-stop running. So it's different.
Correct.
You don't have as hard as American football is. Played it. Everybody's played it. You actually get to leave the field, and another crew comes on and they do their thing, right? So there is some rest on that lawn per se, but it's really hard to do because the amount of money that these guys are getting paid that play in FIFA regarding, the World Cup, right? This is a big thing, but the guy that owns Manchester United is not having that. He's not losing players to bad grass because these dudes get paid a lot of money, and they're not losing players because of bad grass. And you can't mess up the World Cup because the World Cup is the thing, man. It's the thing.
I remember last year was a big deal with Messi when he came to Charlotte and he didn't play, and people were up in arms, and he was like, nah, he doesn't play on that. He doesn't play on that artificial turf. Nope. Need natural grass.
It's not good for you, man. It really isn't.
So, gotcha. Dan, any thoughts on the natural turf or unnatural turf? This looks like a synthetic weave they're trying to, because I think the article said they're trying to weave the regular grass inside the grass, the artificial stuff with the black stuff that comes up. I don't know how that's going to work, man, but
I've never been a fan of artificial turf for any sport. Like, I grew up back in the day when everything was played on grass. I mean, I played soccer in a cow field, and it wasn't the greatest ground or grass, but it was still better than artificial turf because guess what? That's like running on concrete.
Mm-hmm. Three Rivers Stadium.
Yeah, I mean,
AstroTurf.
This goes back years, but I went when I was probably in my early teen, like 19 or 20 or whatever, and I got preseason tickets from work to go to a Steeler preseason game against the Jets. And of course, we were up in the upper bowl, and I watched a dude throw a golf ball from the upper deck, and it bounced probably for about 2 minutes because it hit the ground and came back down. And that's how hard the ground was. Like it bounced almost as high as we were sitting.
Dan, that's paint on concrete.
Pretty much. You could play in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff they used to play on with the cookie cutter stadiums, where Three Rivers and Veterans
Riverfront.
Yeah, Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Yeah, that stuff, like DA said, just painted black. Yeah, and they just called it artificial turf, and it ripped up many of her careers and ripped up your knees with that. So I don't know what to do for it, but they're gonna try it. So they're definitely gonna try it. Let me go on to the next story here. Kansas State Coleman Hawkins tearfully admits NIL backlash affected his play after season-ending loss. This is from Yahoo Sports. This is Jack Bear. He says, all in all, NIL has been pretty good deals for athletes like Kansas State's Coleman Hawkins, getting paid millions of dollars to do whatever their equivalents were doing for free not even 5 years ago, with effectively free transfers between programs if a higher bid comes in. Shouldn't have many downsides. Hawkins, however, personified that what can go wrong in a single post-game interview on Wednesday. The interview came after Kansas State lost 70-56 to Baylor in the Big 12 tournament, effectively ending its season. Head coach Jerome Tang said after the game, the program is unlikely to accept a bid in a consolation tournament, NIT. That leaves the Wildcats and Hawkins with no more opportunities to redeem their season. Kansas State entered the year with a moderate amount of type, receiving votes in the pre-season AP poll after landing Hawkins, who left Illinois initially for the NBA draft, then opted to return to college and transfer into Manhattan, Kansas. NIL was presumably behind the decision. Hawkins was reportedly paid $2 million, tied with Washington's great Osobo for the largest known payment to a college basketball player last cycle. In return for that money, Kansas State was expected to receive a legit NBA prospect who earned third team All Big Ten honors and helped lead the alumni to the Elite Eight last season. What they ended up getting was an inconsistent player who saw a significant step back in efficiency. Hawkins finished his season with 5 points on 2 of 9 shooting with 7 rebounds on Wednesday, with the loss pushing Kansas State's record to 16-17. Hawkins was borderline inconsolable after the game, breaking into tears multiple times as he laid out the reality of NIL: more money, more expectations, more backlash. The 23-year-old admitted that the criticism he received affected his play during the season, and then they show him crying. I'll just read a direct quote. These guys haven't expected some of these things I've experienced. I really wanted to come in and impact the program. I'm sorry for trying, but and then he cusses. I feel like I let a lot of people down. I feel like I did a poor job of letting people talk about me. It affected my play. It was happening all year. I wish I could just go back and block out everything, not for myself, but for the team, so we can have more successful years. This is a learned lesson for me, and I wish the best for the future of this program. At the end of the day, these players are human, even if they're not getting paid. It's easy to criticize a supposed greed or lack of loyalty, but not many people will return legitimately life-changing money. Not every player gets a big NBA signing bonus or a long career just to change schools for the clear. D-Dubs.
Kev, stop, man. Yo, somebody break out the violin, man. Yeah, dog, I'm not really trying to hear none of this shit. None of it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not mad at him.
I'm not mad neither, but I'm not trying to hear all this, y'all, the money's flowing around here like nobody's business. The average person is not getting it like that. So, no, you're not being mad, but when you got an opportunity, man, you got to go and seize the opportunity when it's there. It didn't work out for him. I'm not really trying to hear all this.
Yeah, he'll get his money next year. He'll get his NBA
money.
But
I'm not trying to hear all this crying, D. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I give the boys props because he said, "Yo, I tried to do the best I could. It just didn't work out."
It didn't work. That happens to millions of people every day. We go to.
It's fine.
Don't work out.
Yeah, like how you say, DA. Oh, like how you say, nobody goes to work to mess up.
Yeah, it's all good.
And you ain't trying to. And you, out of all people, ain't trying to hear all that shit. Like,
I'm just saying that. Yo, listen. I had I don't know who I was talking to. Conversation about the NIL thing. There's a big difference between those or conglomerates or consortiums, that are paying kids money and NIL. Because NIL is very specific. It's got to be for them selling commercials with your face on it, right? That's the only people that get NIL. Now, the whole team can get money. Everybody can get paid, but that's the boosters putting up, $10 million for the basketball team, and you split the money, and that's what it is. So that's kind of what happens. They lost. Somebody gave him some bad advice, and that's going to happen to him his whole life. So, with that being said, got to be a little better with your advice taken, and when you get to the NBA next year, just make sure you can make it happen. That's all.
That's it, man. God bless you, and
I can't give you nothing for it though.
Dan, and I'll give you mine.
Yeah. You took the money, aka if you don't want the heat, don't take the money. I mean, that's that. Yes, there is going to be more expectation.
Absolutely.
So,
this is what y'all wanted.
Yeah, don't boo-hoo now.
Right? We wasn't getting paid. We wasn't getting compensated. Now all this is what Biggie said. More money,
more problems. It all comes with the game. And sometimes you ask for a lot. What comes with what's Peter Parker's uncle? What he said, Cap?
Great responsibility comes what I can't even think of it right now, but I know what you're talking
about. Great power, great responsibility.
Responsibility. Yes.
So it is what it is, man. That's it.
Gotcha.
I wish him well. I mean, again, at the end of the day, things happen. So you wish him well, and you keep on pushing, man. Young kid's gonna be all right.
Yeah,
and
he's gonna be quite all right. He's gonna be all right.
And he won't be the last athlete to not quote unquote come up, not big, signing a big contract, so to speak, and $2 million and compared to other professional athletes, man. But I give it to him. At least he had the balls to come out here and just and face the music, man.
Didn't work out the way I wanted it to.
Yeah, he didn't do what's my man's name? Andrews. We didn't have to look for him for 2 weeks and before he started talking. Yeah, I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, I'm just not trying to hear all the crying. But he'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas State's the one that offered them the money, so they put the bag on the table. So that's what that is. So that's
100%. Ryan, how are you tonight, sir? Good to see you tonight, bro.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing tonight?
Ryan, we got some new stories for you, man. We gonna inundate you with
What we working on?
No, he messing with you.
Okay.
He messing. Today is all joy tonight. We just we were just talking about this gentleman. I don't know if you heard the story. He went to the University of Kansas State and signed $2 million deal. He had some kind of regrets of not able to come up to par with the team, and the team did not make the field of 64, and the coach decided not to accept invitation to the NIT, man. And he pretty much said afterwards, man, he's sorry for what has happened, that he didn't, because I think what I said, he came up with 5 points in that game that could have.
Yeah, he had a good season. He just had a bad last game. Listen, it's hard to bring in new kids on a team and have the same success you had the year before. Got to know there got to be a lot of things have to happen to make that happen.
That's the pros and cons of of the portal, because now you're
don't
fighting.
have the continuity.
Exactly. You're getting talent, but now that talent's got to mesh.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's the pros and cons of it. Sometimes you get so many great players where the talent just overshadows everything, and you don't have to mesh. That's kind of what happened with that Florida State team that went undefeated. Like everybody from that portal, they all hit.
Right.
They had like seven draft picks that went to the league from that portal class. So
it happens, man.
It happens, man. That's the pros and cons of it. You have to be able to build the team chemistry along with the talent. Look, I think is St. John's coach, Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino says, look, man, he's like he's all in with the transfer portal now. He's like, I don't even recruit high school kids no more.
Not next year.
He said that. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So it's you have to adapt with the times. You have to.
Got a lot of dudes back home is pretty mad at him right now.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of nice 5-star cats in New York City right now.
Well, D, that's happening on the football side too, man. Where the coaches are saying, man, we're not looking into high school no more. We looking at the talent pool. What's going on within college?
Makes sense.
Yeah, from a talent perspective, yeah.
But let me ask you that's you got a lot of nice cats. So how many of those nice cats was going to go to St. John's? And
I don't know.
You see what I'm saying?
Or stay there after they get there.
It's as good as your school is.
Right, they're competing
compared to the competition in the state. So if you got a bunch of 5-6-star kids and 5-star kids in New York that want to go to St. John's because St. John's is good.
Now,
they're popping now.
They're popping
now.
I mean, Rick Pitino he only got there last year, so
that's what we're talking about. We're talking about now.
He said, I don't need them now.
Exactly. Okay. My
he
point.
Said, he'll tell you, go to Iona, go rock out there for a year or two, and then I'll take you to the transfer.
Iona.
Yeah, I mean, it's still good basketball.
Stony Brook.
Pros come out of those schools, B.
Right, because
out of those schools.
What's happening, right? You're getting these teams who are getting, the transfers, right, from the portal, and even grad students. These guys are like 23, 24 years old with still eligibility left, and they're playing.
Yeah, we got one too down here, but go ahead.
and they're playing against.
I had no idea.
They're playing against kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
the whole team is.
Freshman. I mean, you're gonna have your outliers like a Cooper Flagg and an Ace Bailey and a Harper Jr. Right? Where I mean, Cooper Flagg just turned 18, but he looks like he's 25.
He's been in the circuit for a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody that knows.
He's seasoned.
Yeah,
right.
And he's not the best kid coming out this year. Right?
Yeah, I heard there's somebody else. Somebody told me about.
They got a few kids from overseas that's better. Like them pros like Luka since they was 5. They got 2 or 3 of those. But the reality is, Cooper Flagg, I heard some say might come back, which is smart if the draft ain't right. But if
it's not smart.
If he think he can I would go to the Pelicans, rock with my man Zion, we get it popping, start winning, get it in.
Go ahead. Let me get Ryan in there. Ryan, you said no. Go ahead.
No, it's not smart, in my opinion. It's not smart because that's why he reclassified as a high school student. So he can get to the league early because you're only one injury away. You're only one. We saw it today with him. He just sprained his ankle badly. So I don't even know if he's gonna be ready for the NCAA tournament. So and that's why he reclassified because he knew he's gonna be a top 5. Anytime he was like you said, DA, he's been in the pipeline for years as a young kid. They all know once he's eligible to go, he's going to be a top 5 pick.
Hey, and he went up and down 2 or 3 times.
Right, but what I'm saying is it's all about getting that rookie max extension quick. You got to get it quick because, as we know, we play sports, man. Your injury, you could be gone or have a devastating knee injury, knock on wood, Achilles, whatever. You know what I'm saying? At any time, there's no his stock can't get any higher. There's no reason for him to stay.
Yeah.
It's like
he'll be all right. He has, like all freshmen, you got to get stronger. All right, it's not a bunch of Zions coming out.
But he's strong.
He has to learn how to do some things to get his body right, like all freshmen do coming into the league.
No, but
it's hard.
That's one of his pros is that he already has a man's body for the NBA. That's one of his positives. That he's already got the physical ability, is what they're saying. I
think he stands to get a little stronger.
Well, of course, he just turned 18. But what I'm saying is he already has that body.
Yeah, he'll be okay.
Like he's ready now. He's NBA ready now.
He's ready now.
At least as much as we hope he can be.
He's right.
And he's played against them for years. And that's that gets to do is a little trapped up. Hey, see Cooper against the Olympic team. Like a dog. He's been top 100 every year. And every time you're a top 100 kid, you play against the NBA every year. So
I mean,
he can play.
As a freshman in high school, he was in like the top 25.
Yeah, he was good. Now, I don't know if he's that good because he's playing. First time I saw him, he wasn't playing in Mount Verde in Florida because he ended up going down there with Kevin O'Boyle at Mount Verde, whatever that was, because that was a bigger school. But when he first started playing,
he's from Maine, right?
Yeah, he's playing for the high school in Maine, just the one around the block. He's playing for the school around the way. And by his sophomore year, he's like, yo, this kid's nice. And then he was at Mount Verde. And then before he left to go to Duke, he went back up to Maine to finish up with his, his old team, that the kids he grew up with, so to speak. So he can play, man. I look forward to seeing him.
Right.
The draft is going to be interesting. So.
Oh yeah, and to your credit, DA, where you said you don't even know if he's might be the first round pick, and you might be right.
Well, about need to. It's need.
Right.
So.
Right. So the thing is, right, when they're scouting these players on the NBA level, they want to know, what's your floor and what's your ceiling, right? So everybody says Ace Bailey has the most talent as far as everybody in this draft class. But they say with Flagg, he's a can't miss talent because we know what he's going to give you every night. Because, for instance, what's hurting, not that it's hurting his stock, because they're still going to go 2 or 3, but with Ron Harper Jr. and Ace Bailey at Rutgers, they have like a losing record. Like you have two top 3 picks on one team, and you can't win. So that's kind of hurting them in a sense. Not saying they're going to drop in the draft, because they're not, because we all know the NBA drafts on potential.
Yeah, and bad coach. Coach is not, I don't think it's great there.
Right.
I think, those 2 guys, again, are freshmen, so they had to kind of get their thing together. And there's some teams in the Big Ten that actually ball. Like, Maryland's actually good. So there's schools there that actually give them the business because they're good. And, and unfortunately, like the one and done theory of back in the days, those 2 kids knew from the time they stepped on campus that they were stepping off campus in March. So.
Yeah.
Right. They all know they're one and done. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Ron Harper's 6'6", man. And he's a point guard. He is full real.
Ace Bailey's like 6'9", 6'10" with guards.
Ace Bailey's 6'10", 200 pounds.
I mean, Ace Bailey's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a big.
So
that's a big
as far as pure talent, Ace Bailey has that makeup of he's like a bigger Durant, they say.
He's like Stromile Swift.
Cool. Oh yeah, Stromile Swift. Yeah.
Right, but Stromile really couldn't handle the ball like a guard. He was catching lobs, and Stromile wasn't.
I mean, for the time, he has
he has guard skills.
Guys.
He has guard skills at the 6'10" with the 6'10" body that can jump out the gym.
And sometimes when I watched them earlier in the season, I thought that's what kind of hurt them from a team perspective. Because him and Junior didn't know who was going to take the ball out, like who was going to do this, who was going to do that, which again goes back to the coach having to be. Look, you're going to do that, exactly. And you're going to do that.
Exactly. Right.
And we don't. My man Tomlin always says it. Coaches be running away from coaching. So
true.
Let me move on to the NFL. And that was what we had in the news today. Let me read this. Did I go with this one? You know what? I'm going to make Dan happy real quick here. NFL news. We're still during that free agency period. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are in pursuit of a free agent quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. And this is 2 hours ago. This is from Diarra Sharma of the Sporting News. And says as the team is one of the 2 potential destinations for the 41-year-old along with the New York Giants. The Minnesota Vikings have also been mentioned as a landing spot for the future Hall of Famer, but the Steelers and Giants seem like the favorites. If Pittsburgh misses on Rodgers, the team could shift their focus to Russell Wilson, who started 11 games for them in 2024 and is still on the free agency market. However, there's a slim chance the Steelers are unable to sign Rodgers or Wilson, and if the scenario plays out on ESPN, Chris Canty believes Pittsburgh could be a potential trade destination for San Francisco 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy. I'm going to start reading Dan thoughts on this latest news with your Steelers.
If he signs in Pittsburgh, the first recommendation I'm going to give him is find him a plot, because he's going to need somewhere to lay his head when he's done, because our offensive line is not good.
Oh, he said plot.
Plot. Like,
yeah.
Pick out your headstone, because Dan Moore's gone, which I didn't think he was that great. But, they've been struggling. Russell and Fields were running for their life last year. And now you're going to bring in even more of a non-mobile quarterback. Ugh, yeah, I please go to the Giants or the Vikings. That's just my thought on that.
I would give you Brock. Give me Russell. We just got a few new linemen. Believe me, we'll know exactly what to do, and we're gonna try to trade CMC. So listen, man, we're not playing, man. If you can't win, if you're not winning, then what are you doing? You're losing. Period. They're not giving them $50 million a year.
Well,
I'm just telling you they're not, man. You can just look at them like they say it, and sometimes Shanahan laughs like, "Well, no. Next question, please." We're not giving them that kind of money.
Yeah. Well, D, let me since you interjected, let me go to the next story, because this one's from you from the 49ers web zone, and they say this. This is from who's this from? Chris Wilson. He says the San Francisco 49ers free agent pickup of Mac Jones is about more than simply quarterback depth. The Niners, they need to gain leverage for Brock Purdy's contract negotiations, in part due to the pain they endure at the hands of the ruthless tackle Trent Williams. The 49ers' recent agreement with quarterback Mac Jones on a 2-year contract worth $7 million, with a $5 million guarantee, creating an interesting reunion of sorts between pre-quarterbacks and the heart of the head coach, Kyle Shanahan. According to reports, changes within the 49ers organization in recent weeks have drastically reduced Shanahan's role in personnel decisions. Still, it's difficult to envision that Shanahan's affection for Jones didn't play a significant role in the Niners transaction. The connection between the pair dates back to 2021 NFL draft, when the Niners traded up to obtain the 3rd overall pick. At the time, widespread speculation suggested, and many in the media falsely reported and endlessly repeated, Jones would be San Francisco selection, despite the expectation that such a significant move up the draft board wouldn't be required and to obtain Jones. Your thoughts on this, DA, as we move on?
Backup. That's what he's there for. He's for depth. And I told y'all, I'm not going to keep telling y'all, I told y'all, they're not paying Brock Purdy that money. They're not giving him 50. He's not worth 50, and they would trade him, because how many come from behind games does he have in his career, Kev? You counted last year, like 2, 3?
I think it was 2.
Listen, man, I'm not giving dudes props for a good team getting to the Super Bowl. That's like giving your kids extra presents for getting A's. You're supposed to get A's, dumbass. That's what you're supposed to do.
Man, hard, boy.
That's how I keep my kids on the honor roll. That's what you're supposed to do. Like,
where's
listen,
Junior?
The dude. Oh, darn! I tell you, these dudes.
Damn, Joe Jackson.
Don't win the game.
Michael Tito.
I can't get a B.
No.
Not
if you ain't got no job.
Right.
Yeah, no, I can't.
No, listen.
You'd have been beating me. You'd have been beating me all day.
Football team with the job and still had to get A's. So look, man, my mama wasn't about no lowering the standards. So that's just what that was. But what I'm saying is,
the standard is the standard.
Is the standard, and we cannot continually say
he's been banging that. He's been banging and saying that the whole year.
Yo, listen. Oh, Brock is an MVP. Listen, he is Mr. Relevant for a reason, y'all. This is not a conspiracy. Part 2 is, if you're on a good team, you're supposed to win. That's what good teams do. Right? Isn't that what they're supposed to do?
That's a fact.
So, Dan, my man, when Ben was a young pup and y'all won your first Super Bowl, it was set up for him to go in there and not mess anything up. And you know what Ben didn't do? Didn't mess up anything.
Yeah, he only threw 10 times a game.
There you go. And won a Super Bowl.
Yep, here you go, Jerome.
This is what football
give it to
is.
The bus. Give it to the bus.
This is what football is, man.
I mess with D a lot with Brock Purdy, and I'm like, y'all gonna sign Purdy. He was, and D, to his credit, he's been adamant about that. They're not going to do it.
Adamant and very consistent.
Yeah, he's been 100%, and I agree with him. And I've said the same thing. He's Mr. Irrelevant. He's drafted that low for some reason.
And he doesn't stink, right? But he has small hands and he's short.
Yeah,
right?
He doesn't suck, but he's not. If you are in a salary cap league, you're not trying to pay.
Listen, man, if
nobody is, but except Cleveland, they're trying to screw everybody over.
Well,
let's sign everybody.
I can't.
Like $1 million.
What they say, there's an exception to the rules. There's a
mistake by the lake is killing everybody.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, if you're not Patrick Mahomes, then you're not Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
But he doesn't take a top money.
What I'm saying,
and even he restructured his deal today.
For whatever that means, right? So we could do the whole old Joe Burrow. No. Listen, we're in the business of winning. You being, oh man, I got hurt this season. No, nobody wants to, because everybody has a short lifespan as far as being a football player. Dudes are not trying to sit on the teams for 5. That's what y'all say, oh, they gotta get Nick Bosa.
Miles Garrett.
Joey Bosa, right? No, Nick Bosa.
No, Joey. You're right. Joey.
I said Joey's the older brother, right?
Joey's the one that was looking for a job. Yeah,
we went over this the other day.
He's on the Bills now.
Right? Yeah, he's on the Bills. He signed with the
Bills.
Joey hasn't played a full season in 5 seasons. Why am I giving this man money?
Embiid.
Yeah, well, that's the NBA and their contract structure.
But same thing.
Because of football contract structures, that'll never happen. But what I'm saying is, the Niners, we let go of, I think, 10 free agents that played this year. And some of them will get back because they got hurt, and we're just trying to see how they look like before we sign them back. But listen, man, you got to coach, you got to scout, you got to get what you need to win, right? And if it don't work, then Robert Sala's back out of a job. So because they're putting it on him. Well, Robert, you're back. You're back to being the D coordinator. We're going to get you back out there and do what you're going to do. And if his defense don't win, then he'll be back, coaching, right. Raider D high school, So that's what it'll be.
DA, real quick, Mike Bristol had a question. He said, you think McCaffrey be traded?
If we can get enough for him.
You should take whatever you get for him.
But I mean,
he hasn't played.
Yeah,
he's been hurt.
I think what they may do, Dan, to your point, is let it ride out to the middle of the season. Let it ride out to the middle of the season. If you don't get nothing out of them by then, trade them to a team that's closer to winning and get what you can off of it.
D-Dubs, you just put something in the chat. Go ahead with it.
Oh, no, they was just saying Russell Wilson did have a meeting with the Browns today. So Russell Wilson is being, he's looking around. So,
but they got Kenny Pickett, bro.
Again, we said
Again, Russell Wilson is
He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, bro. They got what Miles wanted.
okay. Then I
Yeah.
mean,
That's why he
reporting the
signed.
story, bro. I don't know.
Oh man,
And out there burying the lead.
But I think we should be finding out something. This with these guys or who's going where soon. This should be dropping.
real quick before we get to the NHL, Kupp he got released by the Rams. Thoughts, Ryan? Thoughts? Kupp.
Kupp hasn't been good in for the last 2 seasons,
And
he's been hurt.
Mhm.
There's one thing that the coach for and the GM at the Rams, they know when you're close to being washed, and they're not going to hold you for that. They're not going to hold you. It's like Belichick.
Gotta get rid of you a year early. Yeah,
he's going to let you go a year early before
Your stock goes completely gone.
or you can't contribute like you used to. The writing's on the wall. Can Kupp go and help another team? Of course. I mean, I'm not saying he's washed like that, but you got Puka, who's basically the number one now, and now you bring
Adams.
You bring in Adams, and there's really no need for him.
Yeah.
Because like I said, he's been banged up, and to be honest with you, it's probably their fault. I mean, those couple of years, man, when he won the Triple Crown, and I mean, I remember there was games where they were down points or up points, and they're throwing him the ball like with a 2-minute warning, and it's like a 20-point game, like he's still in the game. Like you can't keep taking those shots in the NFL, man. You have to know when to get your guys, out the game to protect them from themselves. So, I mean, I just think that they feel like he's I don't want to disrespect him and say shot, but for what we know him to be, he's not that anymore.
And the biggest point is, Ryan, is that all these guys who play, they're pro athletes, but not for the money you want.
Correct.
You're not worth that. Like you can play, but you're a third receiver. Just slot this. That. No, we're not paying you that to be a slot receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I mean, and listen, if he's going to Kansas City, he'd do other.
Well,
he can run routes. He can get third downs.
He'll go to Dallas.
That's not going to be good for him. That won't work out well.
what they got going? The Cowboys, man. I saw something.
Nothing. Nothing, Kev. Just next. I just so happened to see that was one of the landing spots for him. So, but go ahead.
Yeah,
the Dallas Cowboys have nothing going on. So next.
Yeah, it's the same thing what the Rams did with Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley was a monster, like a beast, and all of a sudden, like they just didn't play him no more. I'm like, damn, what happened within the I mean, he got hurt. He had the knee injury, came back, and he was still balling. But then, listen, man, these teams have these players in the facility. They know what's going on. So, yeah. So,
they got it down to the science, right?
Yeah, man. Like,
point.
Yeah.
I mean, they know what type of injury. They know what it looked like.
Yeah, it's a lot more than what people would even imagine.
Absolutely. It's definitely, you get behind the closed doors, the curtain, as they say, you pull the curtain back. You see, it's not what you
think it is.
You had no idea.
So when Ryan, when you first came out with your statement about, you don't think he hasn't been where he is. At first when I heard the Rams were going to part ways or think about part ways, I was like, well, wow. And like you said, you got to do your homework, do your thing, and absolutely, you want to not get rid of, but you want to sever ties between a player.
You want to move on while they have value. I mean,
while they have some kind of value to them.
I mean, they're not even getting anything from them because they just released them because they felt like, nobody wanted to give them anything for him. So that tells you right there what his value is. They know, man. The guy's banged up. They know.
If you got to explain the joke, it's not a good joke.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. You mean to tell me nobody traded for him? Because
If you
like,
got to
Well, they all knew.
Cause
They all
like-
knew if nobody
it's-
traded for him, they're just going to cut him. You get him for free.
That's right. You wait for waivers, and you let them go through the little loop-de-loo, and then they grab them. So,
But that's my point. He didn't have a market.
Yeah, he'll be out there.
Well, I would say,
August.
like you said, Da, he didn't have a market for what he was and the value that
Right.
he was at.
Yeah, you gotta have another conversation with his agent. Cooper, I think we were going a little too high on that one there.
Yeah. Now he's
Yeah, right. Yeah. So
Like-
How many years has he been in the league?
he gotta
9?
be 10,
10?
9, 10. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, as first few years, he didn't catch nothing in Minnesota. Like he wasn't even,
right.
Damn, it been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Remember, he was in that game when the Saints beat them, or was it the Saints that lost to Minnesota, or Minnesota beat the Saints? It was like the last second play, and everybody was such a big game. It was Cooper on one side because Justin Jefferson wasn't even in here. I forgot who the other receiver was.
This is year 8 for him. He started in 2017.
Yeah,
Year 8, man. So
31 years old. So I mean,
Well, he came into the league or started playing
he came into the league in 2017.
2017. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean,
yeah, it's just
Like I
what
said,
it is. Go ahead.
If you got receivers already there, and I'll let you. I'm not going to hold you. If you have receivers already in the team, and you think you're close, or oh man, we could use them in Philly to back up something, whatever. You can do it. I would give you $2 million this year, and if you say no, stay where you at.
right. And then you have my team, the Titans, who trading people when they're in their when they're getting ready in their prime, getting ready to explode. I still don't know why the hell we got rid of AJ Brown.
Because they want to pay him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to pay
money.
somebody.
Well, they didn't want to pay him.
Well, who are they paying? They're not paying anybody.
Will Levitt and
That's what's telling you.
Will Levis.
They ain't gonna pay anybody. They're letting them all go.
Exactly.
Duke
Like,
mayonnaise.
Did
Duke
you say
mayonnaise,
Will
baby.
Levis? Will Levis, man.
I ain't gonna get on.
Lord have mercy.
I ain't gonna get on.
That's
what it is, man.
I just so long as we get Cam Ward,
And
I'm happy.
I think he's a great quarterback. I think they're essentially equal, and I'm not going to rag on this. I know Kev how I get, but I'm just let y'all know, man. They've got to turn the TV off, man. All right, because for you to believe that Shadeur Sanders doesn't love football and had a bad combine and all the rest is because he didn't do 1, 2, 3 things that no one does. You got 5 years of film on this kid. He's been playing college football for 5 years. If you don't know what he can do by now, you need to get another job.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kev. You brought that up. I didn't see all the hoopla nowadays. What's the everybody knows Shadeur can play.
Well,
same thing they do every year, B.
they said he had bad interviews because he came in as too cocky. His dad is Deion Sanders,
which is
I mean, like his dad is Deion freaking Sanders. Man.
What do you expect?
None of that rubbed
exactly,
off.
right? That's one. But I mean, too cocky. What do you? I mean,
Too cocky.
The guy's supposed to have confidence. If he came in there with no confidence, you'll be crying.
They said he wasn't on the humble, stuff like that. Basically,
That's fine.
He didn't kiss the ring. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever.
That's what it is, and they probably going to try to make him suffer and
drop. Again too, and for as great as Deion, is and was, there's a lot of people in the media that don't like Deion.
Oh, yeah.
When he was a player and as now as a coach.
Yeah,
so so they're gonna take it out on his
son.
His son. So I mean, but Shadeur can play. Nobody's questioning that. But to bring up he was too confident is
that's a little stupid to me.
Yeah, now that's you just trying to
You're
trying to pick, man.
And again, it could be it could have only came from one person because that one person wants him to fall so they can draft him. So there's that too.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. There's strategy in this thing too.
There's always gonna be smoke screens and
there's a lot of smoke and stuff. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, so you can't take it. You can't take it with like what it is. You know what I'm saying?
And not only that, my biggest thing, I think his biggest strength, right, is him not even playing behind a decent. They didn't have a decent offensive line, and he still was running for his life. He still got the job done. Now, granted, he had some good skill position players with, as Hunter. So, but yeah, but he can compete. He's gonna compete.
He still has good touch, and he's a rookie.
Yeah,
he shouldn't be good next year.
If anything, if you talk about too cocky. If anything, I want my guy to be. I want him to be that cocky. I want him to be that confident.
Well, if you're going to be like Dan says, getting your plot, you may as well be cocky.
That's what I'm saying, right?
So,
if you're gonna come into the game, especially as a quarterback, listen. If anything, I don't want him to lack confidence and not have any type of swag.
And here's another, con that they threw out with Shadeur, that he's only been coached by his dad.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yes.
So and to be honest with you, I think that's fair.
That's fair. I'm cool with that. When I heard that like months ago, I heard that. And
right,
like,
because
and it's true.
Right. So
how's he going to do with somebody else?
And Dion is known for being harder on his sons than anybody else, because so he's known for that. But the thing is, you've only had
one
the
coach.
ear of your dad in what I'm saying, as your head coach.
Yeah.
So once you get to that level of football and sports, the head coach is just a CEO. The offensive coordinator, you have the quarterback's coach, you have a offensive line coach. You got a whole bunch of other people that are talking to him. Because Dion doesn't call plays. He got his offensive staff calls the plays.
Correct.
So, like I say, that's why I get a little bit, as my grandmother would say, in a ditta about this, is because it's all a boring time of year, and they're just throwing crap out there.
But it's still fair. The reason why I say it's still fair is because there's other aspects of coaching than just X's and O's. How do you handle people? So that's why I'm going at with
that level, that criticism. I'm like I said, I don't have a problem.
Criticism. I think
I don't have a problem with it though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's legit.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, it's not. I'm not mad about it, and I think it's fine. You are fine to say that, but what I'm saying is, no matter what, if you go play for Andy Reid is not the one talking to you. If your offensive coordinator is this coach, is that coach, is this guy, is that guy, is that guy. And I'm just saying that the kid's been playing forever.
No, I get it, but what I'm saying is how do you handle the emotions of a player and things of that nature? That's what I'm not. It's not an X's and O's thing for me. It's how do you handle his personality?
Yeah, I think.
Or can you handle his personality with him being that cocky?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With him being that confident.
I've seen him. I haven't seen him I've seen him getting. What's that game we watched one night? I'm from Kevin. I think Nebraska was beating him up and down the field.
Yeah,
didn't curse nobody out. Didn't wild out. Went and got back on the center. Next play, got hit again. Still had touch. Did what he did. He only played with what he had.
He's a gamer.
I think a lot of people. I think a lot of stuff that they show on TV in these interviews is a little disingenuous, because you see that when they were the best team in the HBCU, right, they had the most talent then, to when he got to Colorado and didn't have the most talent, that he continued to be the same dude. Like, he never shied away from any interviews. He didn't do that. He did everything he was supposed to do. So that's why sometimes, Kev, that's my dude. Kev will tell me, D, don't watch it. Don't look. Because he knows it gets me upset. Because I've watched it for so many years. I'm like, yeah, this is BS. This is BS. That kid can play. I just believe that, if you're watching the kid in college for 4 years on film and you don't know what he does, you're not good at what you do.
Right, but sometimes it doesn't translate to the league. It just doesn't.
If you're coaching,
until we actually see it translate to the league, there's always going to be question marks.
Yep.
Yeah, well, there'll be question marks till you quit. But what I'm saying is, your job as a scout is to say, "Hey, I'm Ryan D'Souza. I like this guy. I watched this tape. I did that. I went to talk to his college coach, the weightlifting coach. I went to the lady at the bagel place. I got all the information I want on Kevin Warren. think we should draft. Now you got a room, right? And now maybe Dan's in that room like, man, F Kevin Warren, he stinks. He's slow-footed. He parks in my parking space. Okay.
Can't hit a curve.
Yeah, can't hit a curve. Cannot hit a curve. But the reality is, Ryan's job is to sell Kevin Warren to the people that are giving the millions.
Yo, Dan, you're a hater.
Well, hey, man.
I'm just saying, man.
Tell him, Dan.
He had trouble with the curve.
Yes,
Oh my goodness.
Clint Eastwood saw that, and he couldn't see.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
overall,
baby.
good points, man.
Good points, fellas, on that. With the whole Sanders, I'm with Von Ryan. I absolutely think it's all dumb what they're doing. As far as Shadeur and some of the media folks, they still don't like Dion for whatever reason. Instead of just judging the kid on his merits, they've taken it out on both of them, which I think it's dumb.
And also kept to the point, right? I think we already said that it's the smoke and mirrors too. So some things are just being thrown out there just to throw somebody else off.
Oh, don't take
making them think. It's like, oh man, I ain't know this, man.
Yeah, he's a cancer.
It's a bunch of posturing, man.
There's a lot of posturing there, so you got to keep that in mind. That's
we
all.
just saw the biggest BS show for the last 2 weeks. I got to get traded out of Cleveland. I don't want to be here. How much you paying?
We got to go.
Okay, I'm coming. Yes, I'm there. Yes, I'll be there.
100 what million? Oh, okay.
Because he's the best defensive player in the league, and he had all the leverage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
But don't cry me a river if you never see a playoff game.
Well, tell him, Dan, because that's what's coming.
Because you took the bag. You said you
was
wanted to win.
That was my point on Monday. That was my point on Monday. I don't
care to be Joe Thomas.
All of us are taking the bag.
Yeah, well, call Joe Thomas.
I don't know,
all of us are taking the bag.
Yeah, mine might be a little less because it's not going to be in Cleveland because they haven't won a Super Bowl ever.
Like Joe Thomas is going to
not everybody's going to win a Super Bowl, man.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just the I told you so guy. I don't want to hear anything from that guy.
Sometimes you give me an offer I can't refuse.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I agree with you, Ryan. I'm with you.
I'm
mad about him taking that back.
Do what's best for you. Yeah, I'm never mad at the next man doing, but
I'm just saying.
Side,
I
just want to hit the other side. Dan, we gotta go. Go ahead, Dan. Ryan.
Real quick. Sorry, and we've seen it. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're under contract, don't mean you can't request another trade.
Yeah.
He can do that. He can do that at the week 1. I want out of here. The players got the power, guys. Like it is
the amount of listening after this time around is like, yeah, all right, whatever. Hey, Joe Thomas on the phone. Call Joe. Joe did 15 years, All Pro every year, Hall of Famer. Didn't win more than 5 games a year ever for 15 years. That sucks.
Dan, what's going on in the Let's go to hockey.
Well, not a whole lot. We got probably about 17, 18 games left. A lot of important games. Well, teams got themselves in the position where all these games are now important, where we've got a couple good ones tonight. We got Florida playing Toronto, which could be a preview of the playoffs coming up. I think this is the first time they played 3 times in the last 15 games, 16 games. So this will be entertaining to see if Toronto can, like, and Florida's shorthanded. The Chuck's out. Marchand, who they just traded for, is out.
What's my man with the PEDs?
Barkov, or not Bark.
No, Barkov.
Shit. I could say Eklund. Yeah. So, the Chuck's still out, but these games are gonna, especially the way they got the playoff format. A lot of this stuff's gonna matter. Like, you got Columbus, they're hanging on to the last spot in the playoff push for the wild card, and they got Montreal, the Rangers, Detroit, even Boston. They're all within 2 points of being in that playoff. At least you picked the good 3-letter network and not the 4. The best stuff for hockey is right on that page he has pulled up. But that's going to be a tight race down to the end. Who gets those last 2 playoff spots? And like right now, Ottawa's beating Boston 5-3. Tampa's losing to Philly, which the Atlantic is going to be the division in the East that's going to be a bear, because the way they do this, the top team in the division gets to play a wild card, and then second and third have to play each other. So way it sits now, Florida would get probably the worst wild card, or no, they would get Ottawa, and Washington would get Columbus, because Washington has the best record. And then Toronto would have to play Tampa Bay, and Carolina would have to play New Jersey. So Washington, if it stays the way it is at the end of the year, Washington has probably the easier route to get through the gauntlet, just because we'll get into the trades here in a minute of what happened with Carolina and Jersey. But
so
Atlantic,
my Rangers on the outside looking in right now.
Oh yeah,
way outside.
No, they're 2 points out.
Yeah.
But the way they're playing,
They're not going to make it.
Yeah, Columbus kicked their Bucks the other night. So.
Yeah, they're losers of the last four. They're four. Yeah.
But Florida's up 3-1 on Toronto right now, and then Columbus, like we talked about, it's holding on that last spot. They're down 3-0 to Vegas, and the Devils and Edmonton are 1-1. And your Rangers and the Wild are scoreless after one. And then the Capitals play the Kings later, and then Chicago and San Jose, which that game doesn't matter. They were both way, way, way at the bottom. But there was a lot of interesting trades and stuff that went on throughout the trade deadline. And the interesting thing to me was like you had some couple early trades, the bigger trades, but then you also had, what was kind of inquisitive to me was, so Washington has the best record in the East. They made one trade. They trade for Bolivier for the Penguins. That's the only move they made. So it's like, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Vegas. Now, Mark Stone didn't make it on LTIR before the trade deadline. He's still healthy. He's still playing. So they really couldn't do a whole lot. You know how they like to hide the money before trade deadline. But all they did was brought back Riley Smith that they let go 2 years ago. So like Vegas is one of the top teams in the East. So they really didn't do a whole lot. But like if we get in like team wise, so like Florida, they're the top in the Atlantic. So what they do, they traded with Boston for Brad Marchand, and they gave up a conditional second-round pick from him. Then they got Nico Sturm and a 7th-round pick in 27 for just a draft pick to San Jose. And then they picked up Vitek Vanasek, the goalie from San Jose. And that was because prior to the deadline on the 2nd, they made their big trade where they got Seth Jones from Chicago and a 26th 4th-round pick for the goalie Spencer Knight and a conditional pick. So they kind of shipped out Spencer Knight, brought in Vanek to kind of take his place as the backup. But they brought in probably one of the best face-off guys in the NHL in Sturm. And then how this happened, but Brad Marchand is now a Florida Panther. And just to put that in perspective, you got one, they're healthy, and hopefully they can get healthy before the playoffs. But you would have Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett, and Brad Marchand
on the same line.
on the same line. That there's no line in the history in the NHL that's rowdier than that line ever.
Is Matthew going to be ready for the playoffs? I don't get that bad groin.
Yeah, that's. Let's put it this way: he might not be ready, but he's going to try to go. If he can, he's going to play. That's just.
Didn't he play in a Cup Finals against Vegas the other year with like a
broken sternum? Yeah,
broken sternum, something like that.
Yeah. So.
Now, do you think like the Panthers are upset that he got hurt in the meaningless All-Star game?
No, because here's the thing, like the culture of hockey.
Yeah,
it like forget pro sports. Just turn on Shorzy, that's on Hulu, and watch that and see how the players talk. and the owners talk to the players.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the culture of hockey. It's always it's community, it's all that.
Gotcha.
So they don't play for the name on the back. They play for the crest that's on the jersey. And the highest honor that any of these guys play for is playing for their country. So Canadian, United States, Sweden, Finland, Russia, whatever. That's the biggest thing that, like, they hadn't done this in like 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, those exhibition games were better than any regular season game in that time, and probably a lot of the playoff games that were throughout that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not the final, like when you get to the finals, but early playoff rounds, there was more intensity in an exhibition game than you would see in a first round playoff game. And that's kind of, you could tell this was NHL run because they were allowed to fight, but they could do the things that they would normally do in a playoff series. So that first game against Canada, everybody's like, "Ooh, they scripted these fights." No, they didn't. The guy on the other side can say no, and nothing happens. But when someone asks you to go, hey, I'm going to stick up for my team. I'm going to stick up for my country. Yeah, let's go. So all that gets the intensity up, the whole 9 yards. But they set that game up because they knew they were going to play them in the finals.
Right.
They knew that's the team they were going to have to play. So just like in a playoff series, early playoff, you'll see some of that garbage go on. But that's the setup if there's a game 7 to wear the other team down, to tell them, hey, we're going to be here. We're going to take your crap. So you know what's coming. And it's a pride thing. Like, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure we're here.
Gotcha.
And that's why they do that.
Hey,
and that's why that game happened.
Dan, I got a quick question, and I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So, not going into politics, but just say, for kicks and giggles, that there was no Ukrainian, Russian thing happening, and what other teams could have been in this kind of round robin tournament that we didn't see this time? Meaning, it's like there might have been a Russian team there, and how do you think that would have changed the tournament overall?
Oh, obviously, if they could have had more teams. So I just happen to have the hypothetical team Russia.
Okay.
That I saw. So
Ovechkin?
Oh no, this team, when I saw this on paper or this image, I was like, oh my God. Panarin, Malkin, Kucherov on your first line. Kaprizov, Buchnevich from St. Louis, Svechnikov from Carolina, second line. Ovechkin, Barbashev, and Valery Nichushkin from Colorado, your third line. Michov from Philly, Namestnikov from Winnipeg, and Marchenko from Columbus. That's your fourth line.
That's what I was thinking. It would have turned the tournament into something totally different.
So it gets better. So on defense, you got Sergachev and Orlov, Romanov and Kulikov, Vladislav Garikov from LA, and Artem Zub from Ottawa. And then you got Vasilevsky, Shesterkin, and Bobrovsky as your three goaltenders.
Wow.
So to answer your question, yes, if Russia wasn't in the middle of, like, so they're banned from the IIHF from international play right now.
Right.
So they probably won't be in the Olympics next year.
Right.
Unless something changes.
Right.
But that team right there, oh my God. Like, poof. There would have been a good chance if they had, say, Russia and, say, one other team. It might have been Russia that was playing for the gold medal.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah. Trust me. Like, hockey's a global sport. Like, you got
Russians,
Ukrainians, Europeans. There's people from everywhere. Like, the Obama, that plays for the Penguins right now. I'm trying to think where he's from. But, yeah, it's like, it might be like where you have to use like a certain continent to make up a team where it's not,
right.
Right.
a very hot region that doesn't play, like Jamaican bobsled team. We all remember that movie. But like, you may need
Cool runnings.
Yeah,
Cool
cool runs.
runs.
You might need to, combine like a,
Make up
China,
a
Korean South area,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
something like that. But that being said, yeah, like if they would have had a couple more players or teams in that tournament, yeah, like especially that Russian team, that would have been awesome.
That's what I thought. I just wasn't 100% sure of what the makeup of the team would be if they were allowed to, participate. So hopefully next year we won't have many wars and we can, get some things going on. So that's all.
Yeah, so we'll have the Olympics next year. So it'll be best on best, but at a grander scale.
Right.
This was something that the NHL wanted to do to, one, give the players something to whet their appetite for the Olympics next year, that kind of thing. And to, obviously, they're not, as much as Bettman gets booed and everybody hates him, blah, blah, blah. He's done a lot of great things to expand the league, and his, vision and knowing that the All-Star weekend, game itself is kind of BS. Like everybody loves the skill challenges, but nobody wants to watch the games.
Right.
Said, hey, let's forgo all that. Let's get the people looking ahead to the Olympics. Let's do this kind of tournament. And to be honest, none of them knew that this was going to be what it turned out to be.
Right. Well,
they thought maybe they'll go half speed. At least it'll be better than the All-Star game. Blah blah blah. Hell no. There was only one game that was a blowout, and that was USA's first game. Every other game, I think, was within a goal or two, and overtimes in multiple games.
Right.
So, yeah, that whole tournament, got them a lot of eyeballs.
Sounds promising.
Yep.
What's up with the OVU watch?
He's on 9, which was crazy. Is they scored a touchdown yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he had here's the thing I saw at the end, that he got the puck on his defensive zone right by his blue line. He could have shot the puck the whole length of from the blue line over the red line over the other blue line, but he hit the young kid at center ice who had 2 goals, and he buried it for his first career hat trick.
There you go.
So that tells you he's like, he knows he's going to get the record eventually, but he's a team player, and he knows, hey, this kid could be this kid's first hat trick. Let me give him the puck.
Mm-hmm. Team.
So
teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it works. It'll come when it's supposed to come, but if you play the right way,
it definitely
things will work out. But there's a couple other interesting trades, like just looking at playoff teams that actually matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like the wild card stuff, because that could be, there's some teams in both, like 3 or 4 in each division that could easily overtake them. So like to go through all of them would be just way too much time. But like Edmonton Edmonton made the finals last year, lost to Florida, Game 7. What'd they do to get better? Well, they picked up Jake Wallman from San Jose, defenseman, for Berglund and a pick. And then they traded with Boston. And they picked up Trent Frederick, the center, and Max Jones, another forward. Those were 2 guys that were playing, I believe, at the NHL level. And a Peter Hauser for Max Warner and a couple of picks. They get bigger, they get tougher. And, like both Frederick and Jones are big boys. But I actually did get to see Wallman's first game with Edmonton, and they were playing Dallas. And he absolutely blew up, ranting in at the blue line with a clean check. Perfectly legal clean check. But I think he'll help them out on the back end. That's part of the problem. Having consistent goaltending is their other issue. So, I think Frederick's still, he's out still with an injury. Like, that's the crazy thing with some of these trades. There's a lot of these players that are on the mend,
right?
And they're going to come back. So we'll see how they can get the chemistry going. once they do get their chance to play. So like I said, Vegas, they got Smith, and then you got Edmonton here with Wallman, Frederick, and Jones. And then the other one, the Kings in their division, they picked up Andrei Kuzmenko from Philly. And that's really it.
So if the timing's right, you might have some juggernauts if the timing's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's, can you sustain what you're doing with the players you got, or when you get the players that you traded for, can you incorporate them back in and not disrupt what, if you're having, that's like Washington Edmond really didn't change a whole lot because the vibes and all that's, going great. And you don't want to tinker sometimes with that and then have it turn out that, that you mess it up.
Yeah.
And you go into a little bit of a funk, lose a couple games or 3-4 games in a row. And then next thing you know, you can't win the division. And now you got to play Tampa Bay first round.
Coaching matters.
Yeah. So like speaking, Toronto, they did some interesting things here. They picked up Scotty Lawton, the center from Philly, for Rabenkin, the right wing, and a pick. And they got a couple picks back. And then they picked up Brandon Carlo from Boston, the defenseman. So they got one of the best two-way centers and a good defenseman now. And then they gave up Fraser Minton, I guess is one of Toronto's top prospects going back to Boston. So Boston getting younger, getting talent, getting a couple picks there. And then this trade, I believe, was just so they could make these guys fit under the cap. So they sent Dewar and Timmins to Pittsburgh for a 5th-round pick in 2025. That's it. So that was more of, hey, we need to make some room money-wise so we can get Carlo and Lawton on the roster. So they went back to their good friend Cal Dubas and it gave him a couple players for a pick. And then, like I said, we did Florida and then like Tampa. Tampa really didn't do a whole lot either. So they traded Eisenmont to Seattle, a 25 second, 26 first rounder, and a 27 first rounder. And they got Borkstrand and Yanni Gord, and they got a 26 5th-round pick. But they got two guys, like Gord used to play in Tampa from those championship years. Good defensive center. Borkstrand is a big dude, good hard checker, can get you some points. And that's all they did. Like just fill in a couple spots, getting some depth players, in case of injury. And that's really all they needed to do to kind of shore up their lineup because, you got Vasilevsky back there and Hedman and Kucherov, Braden Point, so they just need to get not the top 6, but the 3rd and 4th line, kind of solid those up. And then Winnipeg, they really didn't do a whole lot either. They're the leading team in the West.
Right.
Their big trade was they picked up Brandon Tanev from Seattle, which he's just a menace. Like he plays 100 miles an hour. That's why they call him Turbo. He plays 100 miles an hour, and he's always after the puck. And then me and Kevin talked about this. I was like, oh, hey, we got Luke Shen from Nashville. Yeah, for an hour. And then they turn around, the Penguins turn around and send him to Winnipeg for 2 picks in 26 and 27. So Winnipeg shored up their, got an extra D because you always need extras when you get to the playoffs because there's going to be injuries. But they got it, Tanev and Shen. So they, couple moves, not a whole lot. They did what they needed to do. And even like New Jersey, they really didn't do a whole lot. They picked up Daniel Sprong for a 7th-round pick in 26 from Seattle. They got Cheslowski from the Islanders, and they got Cody Glass and Jonathan Gruden from the Penguins. Their biggest thing is Jack Hughes is out. Their top scorer, top playmaker. I saw where he got tangled with Eichel and went awkwardly into the end boards, And I believe he messed his shoulder up, had to have surgery, so he's done until next year, so he won't be back. And they picked up Brian Dumoulin earlier, so as a defenseman. So that's why I said, like, I think Washington might have a little easier route here. But once they beat, well, if they beat the wild card team, then they get to play the winner of Carolina and Jersey. And I kind of saved this one more towards the last because it's a multiple linguo trade. So Carolina, what do? They go, hey, we got this guy on our team, Martin Necas. He's doing really great. But let's call Colorado and see if we can pick up Mikko Rantanen. Colorado says, you know what? We can't sign this guy. He won't sign, and he wants a whole bunch of money. And I don't know that we can spend all that money because we got other players we're going to have to play. So we got to figure out, or pay what's the pecking order, who's getting paid. Mm-hmm. So I saw this on YouTube. I think it's Carolina Corner, but I think it's like a podcast that the Carolina Hurricanes have. And Rod Brennermore was on there and did an interview with the dude. So this was all done behind back door. So Carolina says, hey, we want Rantanen. We'll give you Drury and we'll give you Martin Necas. We'll give you a 2nd round pick and a 4th round pick, for Mikko Rantanen. And they're like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. Well, can we negotiate with Mikko? And they're like, no, you can do that when he gets there. So they can't negotiate it because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year where he can go wherever he wants. Mm-hmm. So he gets to Carolina and he tells them, I will only play for 4 teams and you're not one of them. Yeah. So, and that's come from what Brendamore said. So they made this trade blindly, not knowing that they couldn't re-sign him, or they thought that, the GM thought, well, if we get him here, we can sign him. So that's what they gave up. So then they know they're not going to be able to sign him. He's going to be gone at the end of the year. So you got a choice. Do you keep him and play him throughout the rest of the year, playoffs, and hope you can get to the Cup final and win, and then lose him for nothing at the end of the offseason? Or do you move him before the deadline? So they decide they're going to move him. Well, before mentioned, he only going to play for a couple teams that he told them. So for them to have to move him to like 4 possible teams within like less than 24 hours. Yeah, not very good. But they end up trading him to Dallas, and they got Stankoven, the young center, for them. They got a conditional 26th first, a conditional 28th first, a 26th third rounder, and a 27th third rounder. But still out the door is Drury, Necas, now Rantanen. So they basically got Stankoven and picks for those 3 players. So that I don't know. I don't think that was the best move by their GM. Like, if you don't know if you can sign the guy or not, that's an awful big leap when you're giving up that kind of equity going the other way.
Yeah.
But they did get Taylor Hall out of that, so they still have Taylor Hall, and then they picked up what was the guy's Jankowski from Nashville. So that's why I say, like, New Jersey, they're the best players out for the rest of the season. They brought in some workman type, blue collar type players to their team. Carolina, we just talked about what they just shipped out the door, and basically for Stankoven, which I like Stankoven. I liked him when I saw him play for Dallas. He's a hustle player. He's a good player, fast. But so that's kind of like Carolina's blunder. And the way I look at this too is they got Getzel last year at the deadline, sending Bunning to Pittsburgh. Well, he didn't end up re-signing there either.
So it's just sometimes just to calculate it.
It's a risk. It's
Calculated with
and like I said, do you keep them and play the rest of the season out in playoffs, or you just let them go for nothing?
Well, we talked earlier about value for players and stuff like that, and like I said, it's a risk, and if you're going for it, I guess you're going for it. So,
and to be fair, let me do say this about Rantanen.
right.
I don't believe it was the organization or anything like that is why he didn't want to be there. I think it was more of his family in the East Coast and being in that area on the East. I think he wanted to be on the Western side of the states. But what are you going to do? You got to make a decision. You got to try. But like now, Rantanen's on Dallas, and he also picked up Cody Ceci, the defenseman, and Michael Granlund from San Jose for a pick. So now Dallas is looking pretty good because there's a possibility Heiskanen can be back by the playoffs. Who's the other one that's sitting out for them that's hurt? The forward. It's escaping me. Tyler Sagan. They get Sagan back, Heiskanen back. Now you got Rantanen, and you got, they got a real good looking squad going into the playoffs. And then the last one, for me would be Colorado. I think Colorado did a pretty good job this trade deadline because they filled a bunch of needs of what they need going forward to possibly win a cup. They got Natchez in there who's been playing really good. They got a good player in Drury. It's a third, fourth line center. And, they gave her up Rantanen, who wasn't probably going to sign there anyway because he wanted way too much money. But then they did make a trade with your Rangers for Calvin DeHaan and Passanen. So they, and they got out, the Rangers, that's who they got. And then Lindgren and Vesey, who's he's a good player, came to Colorado. But then they turned around and traded with the Islanders and got Brock Nelson. And then they also traded with Boston and got Charlie Coyle. And they were able to ship out Casey Middlestead, which they were kind of like, he just wasn't fitting in there, to say that. And then they picked up Eric Johnson, brought him back as an extra defenseman for the playoff run. So I really like what Colorado's got going on. Like, they're strong down the middle, all four lines. They got depth. Lindgren, as you well know, will do anything to win. He will put his face in front of a puck. So but tell me I'm wrong. That dude would do anything.
Are the Avs your favorite?
That face in front of the puck stuff. That's.
Hey, but you know what? They go get stitched up, put a bubble on, and they come right back out and play.
That's a fact. It's a rough game.
So I really like the West is going to be a little bit scary between Dallas and the Avs.
Right.
And I don't know. As long as you have McDavid and Draisaitl.
Oh, McJesus.
I mean, you can't count them outscoring everybody.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't trust their goaltending. So, probably Colorado and Dallas. I mean, even Winnipeg, because they got the best goalie on the planet right now, and Hellebuck. So that Central Division out of the West is, I think, the scariest three teams. But here's the kicker: if you look at the standings right now and how that plays out, like we did the East, Winnipeg's number one, so they get one of the wild card teams. Dallas and Colorado would have to play each other. And then Vegas would get the other wild card, and Edmonton would have to play LA. So that's why I say this shenanigans of the way they got the playoffs, building rivalries, having to play within your division, conference, whatever, is BS. Because if it was probably by record, these guys wouldn't see each other until the semi or the the conference final.
Right.
Where you're knocking out better teams early because of the way it's set up.
Good on good.
Yeah. But then, like Florida's going to get like Columbus or Ottawa, and Washington will get one of those two. But then Carolina will have to play Jersey, and Tampa will have to play Toronto. And then you go from that, and whoever like Florida wins, then they'll get the winner of Toronto and Tampa. That's why I say I think Washington got the little easier street on the east side, just because injuries and stuff like that with Carolina and New Jersey. And then on, the West is going to be a battle.
And there's what you said earlier, there was like 13.
There's like 15 or like 17 games. So most teams have played like 64 games. So that's 18 games?
Yeah, 18 left. Yeah.
So anywhere between 18 and 15.
Gotcha.
And that's the thing with the Rangers. They played 65 games. The two wildcard teams have only played 64. So they got a game in hand. But you are up 1-0 on Minnesota.
Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah, whatever. Anything else? You trolling person?
Well, no, like the last thing, so we were talking. Some teams, will be buyers. Some teams will be sellers. Like some of these teams got players to make them better in the playoffs. Well, now Boston is kind of in a situation where we had our good run, and with that, eventually it runs out. Like Bergeron retired and that kind of thing. Chara retired, blah, blah, blah. So now what do you got to do? Well, what did they do? They moved a guy out in Carlo, not super old, but, got good prospects from Toronto. Then they send Marchand to Florida, even though he's a UFA at the end of the year, can sign right back with Boston next year. They still got a second-round pick out of him. But then, they got Casey Middlestat in the Colorado trade when they sent out an older player in Charlie Coyle. And then they got Kushtanov. These Russian names are wow. but they sent out Brazo to Minnesota and got, that and a pick back. And then, like I said, they sent out Frederick and Jones, and they got a couple picks, So their thing is the way we stand now and the injuries we got, like their top three defensemen, I believe, are out. Hampus Lindholm, Charlie McAvoy, who also got hurt in the Four Nations tournament, and Marchand and Frederick. So they were in the position of, let's move some of the older vets off the roster, keep the young core, get picks, get some young players and prospects, and try to do what Washington did this year after missing the playoffs or squeaking into the playoffs, is to like rebuild on the fly so that next year they don't lose a lot. Because you figure they still got Swayman in net. They still got one of the best goalies in the league. And, they get the players back from injury. They're going to be, they're still only 2 points out of a playoff spot. But, that's kind of like your seller's mentality is like, people are wanting these players, older players, veteran players. Let's expiring contracts. Let's move them and, evaluate over the summer and see who we're going to go after to rebuild. So we'll see how Boston looks next year. Are they in the running or are they in the same position? Because then, you'll be able to tell a little bit how,
right,
their philosophy is of, do we try to get better right away, or are we going to wait a couple years? Because like Yzerman's been on the 6-year plan in Detroit, and like they're starting to play better now, and they're in a spot where they're close to being in a playoff position. They're one of those teams that's 2 points behind.
So Yzerman is the general manager for the Wings, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else, Dan?
No, that's the tilt of the week. It's not the greatest fight. I'll give it that. But
to the week,
Toronto and Utah played the other night, and I missed the goal. It was some freaky goal, and they gave it to Benoit, the defenseman for Toronto. They dropped the puck, and I don't know why it happened, but Kesslering went up to him, and they squared off. and the dude did like a Superman punch.
Superman, I saw that.
Literally, he was probably like that far off the ice. He jumped in skates and tried to punch him. Of course, he missed him, and then he ate about 4 lefts or 4 rights in a row, and then they fell down. But it like the last time I saw that was Kevin Bieksa when he played, I believe, in Vancouver, and he actually, it actually worked. He clocked the dude. But that was my tilt of the week. I thought that one was a pretty good one, funny one, because I hadn't seen that in forever. But then the other Lackey sent me a couple memes. It was Washington, Seattle, and all 5 players for both teams were in the penalty box. Like the guys couldn't sit; some of them had to stand because there wasn't enough room.
Sound like a New York City subway.
Yeah, they let the lady sit.
Not in New York.
Not in New York.
Hey, would they be on the train like this? Sweet.
Oh yeah, as soon as that pregnant lady stand in front of me.
God. Oh my God.
Anybody from New York know what we talking about?
Damn New Yorkers.
Yo, he's Dan K. He's a hockey too.
And Ovi's what, 9 away?
9 away. Ovi's 9 away.
But they hadn't started yet. They're 10:30 game against LA tonight.
Okay. Gotcha, man. Gotcha.
I saw one play he could have scored on an empty net, but he gave it to somebody else to score.
Yeah, that kid.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
I think that's one of their rookies on their team.
Yeah.
But that was his first career hat trick.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it was a hat trick.
So he knew he had 2.
Yeah.
And he passed it up to him.
Yeah, I think when you got booted, Ryan, that's what Dan was alluding to.
You brought that up. My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it was Pistorius, or let me look at his name real quick.
What a teammate.
Yeah, but that's the way they are. That like he knew that dude, he was that close to having a hat trick, his first one, and that's what you'll see. Like even like when young kids come up or whatever, and they actually score their first goal, you'll see how aware these guys are of that, because he may be over in the corner jumping into the glass, celebrating. One of the vets is going over, digging the puck out of the net because they know that's his first goal. Skate over, give it to the trainer, go, hey, put the tape around it, write on it, first goal, blah, blah, blah.
That's cool.
But what's his last name? Protus. Alexei Protus. That's who he gave the puck up to.
That's real cool.
I got you. Thank you, Dan. Ryan, NBA. Ryan, I'm not going to hijack your thing, but I just wanted to mention the bad
you
news
good.
first. The bad news. Oliver Miller and Junior Bridgman, they passed away. I don't know if he was going to keep it up.
Rest in peace to them, man. Yeah.
Yeah, Junior Bridgman played with the Milwaukee Bucks, I believe, his whole career.
And he's a billionaire.
And he's a billionaire, yes.
Oliver Miller was on a hell of an Arkansas team.
Oh, those Arkansas teams, man. Oh, man, the Razorbacks, Nolan Richardson.
Yeah, he can play. Dude was all right.
Oh, yeah. Oliver Miller was nice, man, in college, man. He just couldn't beat the,
Stakes.
Yeah, he couldn't get his weight down, man. And I remember Barkley always talks about it. Charles always talks about how when he was in Phoenix, when he drafted him, he tried to take him under his wing, like how Moses Malone did for Charles, because Charles had a weight problem too coming out of Auburn, and it was Moses Malone who kind of got him out of that, taught him how to take care of his body, be a professional, and and things of that nature. So yeah, man, so just rest in peace to those guys, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, what else you got for the NBA, man?
Yeah, for the NBA, man. Just hit on some news. The Jazz was fined $100,000 for not playing Lauri Markkanen. That's one of the headlines. He wasn't hurt. They just they're in tank mode, right? So OKC was the first to clinch in the West. They have a big lead in the Western Conference, but they still have something to play for, right? Because they're trying to get the overall seeding for the in case they make it to the championship. They're still fighting with Cleveland for the best record in the league. De'Aaron Fox is out for the season with a finger injury. He's out for the season because they're in Tampa as well. So there's no need. There's no need to play him, man. But yeah, some great games. Great games last night with OKC and Boston.
Good game.
OKC not having Williams, J-Dub, and their second All-Star, and they went into Boston, man, and took care of business.
Yep.
Obviously, Boston didn't have Porzingis. He's been sick. They've been saying he's been sick for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, he's been off and on, right?
So that's kind of scary, man. When it's not an injury, it's a sickness. They said, and it's been for 3 weeks. So hopefully, he's okay with that. But yeah, man, OKC keeps, it keeps piling up the wins, and making a case. SGA making a case, even more for the MVP. I know Joker's right there with his incredible stats. But if you ask me, you know what I'm saying, like, you can't go wrong with either one. Both of them are deserving. But with the season that OKC is having,
I agree.
Where they're number one in defensive ratings, right? Like every defensive category, it's OKC's number one. And that's with not even having their bigs. Hartenstein missed a lot of time to begin the season. Then Chet went down. So what SGA is doing, galvanizing that team, and they're all feeding off of them. Of course, man, Denver feeds off a Joker, but right. They already have made men who've seen the promised land, who won the championship. So, right. And a lot of people thought SGA should have won last year because they were the number one seed last year, but they all were tied, right? They all had the same record. It was just because of tiebreakers. Mm-hmm. But now OKC is what? They're up
a bunch of games.
Yeah. OKC is up 12 games on the Western Conference. Yeah. That's 12 games on the Western Conference, which is,
pretty good.
You know what I'm saying? So so yeah. But again, you can't go wrong with either one. And it's a narrative thing, right? It's a narrative thing. Do you like the narrative of best player on the best team who leads the league in scoring, where you have Joker, who's, they're number 3 right now, but they're 12 games behind OKC. So
yeah. Here's kind of my question on that.
Yeah.
And like I said, so how much has OKC improved from last year with his play?
12 games better than the conference. They were tied.
Well, no, that's what I'm asking. How has his play impacted his success of his team opposed to the others that are in the conversation for the award? Like, does his contribution more important, like, to the success of the team opposed to some of the other candidates?
Well, we haven't really seen it because none of them really been hurt, so we can't really judge what's important. Of course, Joker. If you take him off of Denver, they're not going to be what they are. If you take SGA off,
not even hurt. I mean, just like in general, like their play this year, like say OKC had 50 wins last year, and with the way that he's playing this year, now they got 60, so it's a plus 10. Like,
right? Yeah,
which players impacted?
Well, I mean, if you're gonna ask me, I say it's SGA, and
because I think that's important to whoever wins the MVP.
Right. So if you're telling me that, remember they had the same record last year, both teams, Denver and OKC, and Minnesota. They all had the same record, but OKC went on tiebreakers. Now it's a 12. So basically they had the same record last year. Now it's a 12-game difference.
Okay. So I would say that he's more important, or the MVP.
Right.
Because,
so and not only that, I just mentioned his whole front court was gone for a lot of the seasons. Chet was gone, missed a bunch of time. Hartenstein, who they got from the Knicks, missed a lot of time. Caruso's been in and out of lineup. They're big free agent pickup, and and not only did they stay on top of the Western Conference, Now they're up top by 12 games when it
12
was
plus, yeah.
when it was tied last year. So to answer your question, I would say SGA.
Okay.
And I would give him my vote if I was. But again, you can't go wrong with Joker.
Oh no, like the stats that he puts up.
Right.
But you got to kind of look at how they impact their team.
Right.
And their success.
And they both impact their team, right? But if we want to say winning is the tiebreaker, then my team is 12 games better than you in the standing. That's a lot of games. 12?
Yeah, when they only play 82.
That's a lot of games. And not to mention they were all tied, and the injuries to OKC with their big men. So I would give and I mean he's leading the league in scoring. I believe like by 33 points. And Joker's right there with 29. And Joker has more rebounds, more assists, because Joker he's the hub, right? Whereas an SGA is a hub, but he's also like a finisher. So so it's
they both have their own roles for the team. They both have their own roles for the teams, and I hate hearing people talk about the fatigue. That shouldn't have anything to do with it. Just vote on who you think is the best player, and that'll be all.
Right, but
move on from there.
Agree, but there is such a thing as voter fatigue, because there is. It's like we've seen it throughout the history of the league, even in all sports. Like Michael Jordan was the best player every damn season, and he didn't win the MVP all the time when he could have. It's you know what I'm saying? Like if you're asking me, fellas, who do I think the best player in the league is? The best player is Joker. He's the best player in the league. But the MVP for this season, where the value to his team and where his team, because if you're picking, like we said, we're drawing straws. Who's better for their team? But I would say because of the difference in the standings and the record, when OKC had more injuries, I have to give it to SGA. Right. I just do, in my opinion. So
let me ask you this, Ryan, and I might be getting off topic a little bit.
No, it's good.
If you had a vote and statistically a player was great, but his team didn't do well, wasn't even stiff in the playoffs, would you give them a vote for MVP?
Wasn't sniffing the playoffs? No, because I think the lowest seed to win MVP was Russell Westbrook when he was number 6. He was a 6th seed, and I thought Harden, who was the number 2 seed that year, should have won the MVP award.
That was about 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there. But that was the first time Russ had averaged a triple-double since the great Oscar Robertson. So it was a historic. He had a historic, narrative. You know what I'm saying? So we never seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, as you know, I love the NBA, but I never really saw Oscar Robertson play. And to say that, he averaged a triple-double is just phenomenal. Joker is averaging a triple-double right now.
Yeah.
As a center. You know what I'm saying? But if you had to nitpick and say, well, to answer your question, no. If you're not sniffing the playoffs, you can't be in the MVP consideration. Normally, you have to have like a top 4 record to, you know what I'm saying, in a conference to warrant you being an MVP of the league. You know what I mean?
The problem is in all these sports, whether it be hockey, basketball, baseball, it's like you could have the best player in the league, but the MVP is the most valuable player. So that's where I kind of take it to how's the team doing? How did they get to it with what they dealt with? And like you said, you may have the best statistics in the league, but that doesn't mean you're the most valuable player in the team, because if you're not in the playoffs, you had a hell of a season. They just need to have a trophy of you're the best player in the league, but you're the most valuable player in the league.
Yeah, well, which it should be.
And that kind of thing.
It's
across all sports too.
Right. That's why I said. That's why I said in every sport you see it where you know what I'm saying, like the best players always didn't win MVP or offensive player, whatever the case may be. But yeah, you're right. Like, I
We
mean,
need a BPL. Best
but yeah, I mean, it's
but you're
Well,
right, man.
they're
Good
different.
points, man.
They're
Both of y'all.
different.
yeah,
And
and
definitely, you're right. You're right.
right, and also too, for the people who are voting for these awards, narratives matter. It just does. The narrative of SGA with all the injuries that they have, and still has OKC 12 games better than you.
Wow.
In a deep conference, that's a narrative. So even though Joker's stats are better on not scoring, but everything else, it bodes well for SGA. And then we have the voter fatigue. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing when when the two candidates are close.
Right.
If the two candidates are not close, then okay, then
matter.
it's just Joker. Like last year, it was just Joker. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? So, but being that it's close, and not to mention, SGA has the most 50-point games this season, the most 40 points game this season.
Yeah, it's hard not to give it to him. I'm sorry.
There should be 2 awards coming out of that team for Oklahoma City. If they went through all those injuries and everything, he should be the MVP, and that coach should be probably the coach of the year.
Right, but the coach of the year is probably going to go to the Pistons coach.
Yeah, shout out to the Pistons.
Yeah, because I mean, God, they had a 26-game losing streak last year.
Yep.
Ouch.
And now you're talking about them being 6th in the Eastern Conference. Now the Eastern Conference is top heavy, right? Where you have your Clevelands, your Boston, your Cleveland at 1, Boston at 2, the Knicks at 3, and then you have the Milwaukee Bucks who are struggling. They lost 3 in a row. They're about to beat the Lakers right now, though. I know they were beating the Lakers. So
Milwaukee,
Milwaukee, right? So then you have all the teams from Indiana. Indiana's kind of righted the ship. Indiana's struggled to start the season, but they're getting back in the groove of things. But you have your teams, on the bottom of the standings that are like under 500. Like there's only I believe there's only 6 teams in the Eastern Conference with a winning record.
Wow.
So versus. There's only 6 teams. Like the Hawks are number 7 right now, and they're 32-34, and they're the 7th seed with a losing record. Versus the Western Conference, where you have 10 teams over 500. Everybody that's in the play-in is basically at 500. So it's. But then you can say, well, the East is top heavy with Cleveland and the defending champs Boston Celtics, and if you want to throw the Knicks in there,
not really.
Yeah, Knicks would be all right. But yeah, man. But just some good basketball. I don't know if you guys caught the Knicks game last night against Portland. History was made in that game last night, man. So the Knicks Blazers had 14 ties, 42 lead changes. Is the second most lead changes in this game since 1996. The game was nip and tuck, and it ended on a Bridges buzzer beater 3. Shouldn't even got to overtime.
Shouldn't.
Yeah, Josh Hart, made a mistake of running the baseline when he couldn't run, so he got called for the out of bounds violation. So yeah, man, just some good basketball being played. We got a big game coming up on Saturday with the Knicks,
Golden State.
And Golden State. That's going to be something, because now you had that chirping back and forth with Draymond saying, why Cat missed the game in New York when he was really at a friend's funeral, and it was kind of they're saying that he was scared of Jimmy, but early in the season he played against Jimmy against Miami and went for 42. So so just careless hot takes, from players who are playing the game. So hopefully we get a good game on Saturday, man. So Yeah, just some great basketball going on right now, man. And obviously we have LeBron being hurt. The Lakers already lost 2 in a row. They're going to lose tonight, so they might be stumbling. Great game on tonight. Golden State versus Sacramento. They're both fighting for that, to get out of the play-in spot. So yeah, so we got some interesting matchups coming up, man. And yeah, so it's just like hockey. It's like 16 games left. And teams are just jockeying for position and trying to see who they'll face in the playoffs. So exciting times, man. It's always good after the trade deadline and getting ramped up for the playoffs. What's up?
Before we get off basketball, I need to bring this up. Ryan,
yeah. Did
you see who showed up in Indiana?
What do you mean in the Indiana game?
No. In the women's at WNBA.
Okay, you didn't tell me what. Yeah,
your girl Sophie Cunningham had her intro conference.
Oh, nice.
In Indiana.
Yeah.
So Bonner is now there. Sophie's now up there, and the gang is getting together. So looking forward to that. That's only a month away, month or so. Because they have a draft. What, April?
May.
About a month from now.
The draft is in April. The league starts in the second week of May. There'll be a second week of May. But to piggyback on the women, so the Unrivaled basketball league, they announced their it's a 3-on-3 league. They announced their first team, all Unrivaled team. That's Nafisa Collier, who won the 1-on-1 tournament. She's the best player in the sport right now. Between her and Asia. So we have Nafisa Collier, Chelsea Gray made the first team, and Kayla McBride made the first team. Second team was Ryan Howard, Angel Reese made the second team, and Skylar Diggins-Smith, who had the most clutch points in the league so far. So it's been a good overall season for the new Unrivaled league. Very proud of what they're doing. The playoff starts on Friday, and the championship game is on Sunday. So that's something to look forward to if you guys want to catch something. And of course, we have all the men's NCAA tournament conference championships, and then we have Selection Sunday.
Selection Sunday's coming up.
Yeah. And Steph, Stephen Curry, he's now a sponsor for he's an investor with Unrivaled.
I saw that. Yes.
Yeah, he announced, man. And I'm hearing a lot of other pro athletes are gonna follow suit, and that's just awesome, man. Their vision they had for the league, so they didn't have to go overseas all the time and play.
Hey, real quick, and he also got down with Davidson College. He's also
right. I did see that. Yes. He's the assistant AD or something like that.
For Davidson College, which is I was like, wow, that's pretty big right there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steph Curry.
Good marketing tool to try to get some recruits there. And good for him.
As long as you're offering cash, man, those kids will go.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Of course.
My story earlier.
Yeah, but it's gonna be exciting, man. It's gonna be exciting finish with basketball. Got the playoffs coming. Dan, like you said, we got the WNBA. It's so many storylines for the season coming up in the WNBA. It's crazy. A lot of movement in the off season via trades, free agency. So it's going to be definitely exciting. So it's just a good time, man. And it's, I'm always excited for March Madness. You know what I'm saying, on the men's side, but I'm equally as excited for the women's side as well, because we don't know who's going to be the number 1 overall seed in the women's. It could be South Carolina. It could be, because they had the toughest schedule by far. Yeah. It could be UCLA. Their only 2 losses was to USC, and they avenged those 2 losses in their conference championship and beat Juju and USC. UConn has a case. Only thing with UConn, their conference was down. So even though they went They went to South Carolina in a hostile environment and beat the defending champs and spanked them real good. But like Don Staley says, right? For the credit that you give teams, if they beat us, you have to give us credit for the schedule we play and the out-of-conference schedule we play. I know we mentioned it, how their out-of-conference schedule, they played UCLA this year. They played Connecticut, and they do a home and home. And now they just announced that they got the home and home with Southern Cal. So it's the battle of the USCs. That's how they're kind of marketing it. Who's the real USC? Is it South Carolina or is it Southern Cal? So it's just good. It's just good for women's basketball, man. It's just good for women's basketball.
Gotcha. Anything else, Ryan?
No, man. That's pretty much it, man. So like I said, a lot of teams in the NBA are dealing with some injuries at the top that could affect the standings. So we'll see what. Excuse me. We'll see how they come out the injuries and then we go from there.
Gotcha. He is Ryan D'Souza with the NBA.
Pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Wins the game at the buzzer!
Bangs there.
Let's get PTSD real quick.
Yeah, real quick. I don't know if you guys saw that. I know the minutes police is out, but there was a report that there was a report that that Mikal Bridges went to Tibbs and was talking about getting the bench players more minutes and things of that nature. So that was a sticking point.
Yeah, okay.
I'm shocked that the minutes police didn't mention it before he had to log off. So I was waiting for him to say it, but
So
we'll see.
Right, and that says something coming from Mikal Bridges, who has like one of the he's never missed a game in his whole career.
Wow.
Yep. He said, but
not one.
He said, "You crazy old whatever you are, you're not gonna kill me out here." So
right. So so he's not one to complain about minutes, but I think what he was doing was kind of trying to empower the bench, right? Because you hear it all the time. They have no bench. Well, how the hell you know if you don't play? If you don't play,
right? You
got to put them out there, like especially in times when you don't have to play 38 minutes a game. We all seen it when Tibbs will, be 5 minutes left, they're up by 20 points, and you still got the starters out there. Like, dude, like, all right, we get it, man. Like, so you have to empower your bench, and that's on Tibbs. And the reason why it's on Tibbs is because at every stop that was a knock on him, whether it was Chicago practicing too hard, whereas Minnesota just overextending the minutes. So there's got to be growth, man. Players got to grow.
I haven't done with that too.
Grow and adapt, and so does coaching. You gotta adapt. And like I said, man, like I was dumbfounded when they finally got Mitch back, and then they didn't give Precious 0 minutes. Like, dude, the guy, like, yeah. So Brunson is out. So we see if the Knicks can right the ship. But the good thing with the Knicks, they're pretty much solidified, in that number 3 spot. Right. But the only thing is they're gonna have to go through Boston and should be Cleveland, to get to the champion.
But the reality is that it's been too many years, Ryan, where people have come to this guy with the same topic and he just does not listen. So we'll see. But they just gave him more money, so I doubt that anything happens.
Right. But when you have a player who's a workhorse, like Mikal Bridges, who doesn't miss a game, and he's telling you, bro. I mean, that says a lot. Because one thing about players, they want to play. They don't want to not play. So when they feel so
that dude don't listen, man. I got no love for that.
So we'll see what happens, man. But definitely good times, man. We got NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, right around the corner. So that's
NFL draft.
Where's that at?
Indianapolis, right?
No, the NFL draft.
I'm not too sure.
I thought it was Indianapolis.
Probably in Pittsburgh, the way Dan is grinning.
No, I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
I'm not sure.
No idea.
Speaking of draft, shout out to my man Dante on who's on with the ECG. He just chimed in here for a little bit. We're trying to work something out where how we did the draft. Episode. We're trying to hook up with the game, try to work it out, man. So shout out to him, man. So hopefully we'll get some times and some chance to do that. We had a great time collaborating and doing the draft, the NFL draft, and seeing how things will shake out and work out, man. So shout out to the East Coast Gridiron.
Should be interesting.
Yeah, definitely should be interesting, man. So
I believe it's at Lambeau.
Oh, it's at Lambeau. Okay, all right, cool.
Okay, cool.
All right.
It's cold out there when it isn't cold.
Green Bay, guess you're gonna show out. Probably a little bit warmer in April, though, man. So they should be good, man. So they should be good in April, man. So listen,
isn't April still considered winter?
Yes.
Well, I don't know
because I stay my ass right in Florida. The furthest I'm getting the cold is Atlanta.
Oh man, great show tonight. Great show tonight, man. We went over a little bit, man, but we had a lot to cover, man. Thank you for those that had that stayed with us and hung with us, man. We appreciate you. D-Dubs had to cut out. We're gonna start calling D-Dubs the MP. The MP, the Menace Police.
Yeah.
Part shots real quick. Let me get DA before he knocks out. DA.
Yeah, man. And thank you guys for coming on. Everyone, take care. As always appreciate it. Good conversation, guys. I miss you. I'm trying to get right the ship. So I thank you very much, gentlemen, and have a great night.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes. Appreciate that. Dan, what you got for us real quick?
Well, not a whole lot. Just, great to see everybody again, be able to get on, chit-chat about sports. Shout out to E and Michael in their absence. And everybody take care, be safe.
Yeah.
Got you. Ryan, what you got for us?
Great show, guys. Great show. Always fellowshipping on the Sports Chasers. Just what up to everybody, all the guys that wasn't on tonight. Shout out to them. Shout out to all the people in the comments. Man, just we'll see you next time. And Kev, I'll see you Saturday.
That's right. Poker. Let's get it. Hey, I don't have anything else. Shout out to all those in the comments. Thank you so kindly. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for the guys. Love the conversation. Love what we do, man. Shout out to Michael and the Angry One. They couldn't be with us tonight, man. But thank you to you for also joining us, and those on the podcast, with those that are listening. Thank you so much. So I'm not going to belabor the point. So on behalf of myself and the whole crew, man, hey, this is a Sports Chasers podcast. Y'all be good, be great, man. Hey, hang out with us on Monday for the Monday Rewind. And, we'll catch you on the flip side. Y'all be good. Peace.
Hey.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Sports Chasers podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms, and connect with us on all social media channels for exclusive content and updates. We'd also love for you to join the conversation, share your thoughts, and become part of the Sports Chasers community. And remember to tune in next time for some more real sports talk. Until then.